The human body is a biological marvel until it suddenly decides to break the rules of science. Doctors spend years learning how to fix us, but sometimes a case comes along that even the best medical minds can't explain. From people who feel no pain to mysterious diseases that appear out of nowhere, these cases have left experts scratching their heads and searching for answers. Some were eventually solved. Others remain unsolved mysteries of modern medicine. Whether it's bizarre brain conditions, unexplainable survival stories, or symptoms that make zero sense, these 15 medical mysteries prove that sometimes the body just doesn't play by the rules. Number 15. Treeman syndrome. Imagine your skin transforming into thick, bark-like growths, making even basic movements impossible. Well, we said just imagine it. But for people like Abul Bajandar from Bangladesh and Dedi Koswara from Indonesia, this nightmare is real. Epidermodysplasia verruciformis, or simply Treeman syndrome, is a super rare genetic disorder where the body can't fight off HPV, human papillomavirus. This leads to uncontrolled wart growths that spread relentlessly, turning hands, feet, and even faces into something that looks more like tree bark than human skin. At first, it starts small, a few strange lesions here and there. But over time, those warts harden and multiply, covering entire limbs. Everyday tasks? Impossible. Holding a spoon, hugging a loved one, even walking, it all becomes a struggle. Doctors have attempted multiple surgeries, cutting away the growths, but they always come back. Despite medical advancements, there's no cure, and sufferers are often left to live with pain, infections, and isolation. Koswara passed away in 2016, but Bajandar has undergone over 25 surgeries to remove the growths. However, without a permanent treatment, the question remains, will he ever be free of it? Number 14. The girl who never felt pain. Pain is annoying, but it's also a lifesaver. Now imagine never feeling it at all. That's the reality for Gabby Gingras, a girl born with congenital insensitivity to pain, a condition so rare that even experts struggle to understand it. From infancy, Gabby would bite her own fingers until they bled, unaware she was hurting herself. She broke bones without realizing it, and even scratched her own eyes, leading to permanent damage. Without pain as a warning system, simple injuries became life-threatening. Scientists discovered her nerves don't properly transmit pain signals, meaning her brain never registers injuries. While her condition sounds like a superhero ability, it's actually extremely dangerous. Pain exists to protect us. To this day, there's no cure, and doctors can only manage symptoms by limiting injuries. Her case remains one of the rarest medical mysteries, forcing experts to rethink how pain works in the human body. Number 13. The man who couldn't sleep for 40 years. A Vietnamese man named Ngoc Thai hasn't slept in over 4 decades, and somehow he's still alive. This isn't your standard case of insomnia. Ngoc claims he hasn't closed his eyes since 1973, yet he functions as if nothing's wrong. Doctors expected him to suffer from mental and physical decline, but extensive testing showed no signs of organ damage, cognitive impairment, or exhaustion. Incredibly, his body seems to have adapted, keeping his energy levels stable without rest. Sleep experts have tried to classify his case under insomnia-related disorders, but nothing fits. Some theorize that Ngoc has a rare neurological adaptation, where his brain enters a semi-resting state while awake. Others suspect an unknown genetic mutation. Decades later, Ngoc remains a complete medical mystery, defying one of the most basic biological needs of every living being: sleep. Number 12. The girl who's allergic to water. Sounds like something out of a sci-fi novel, but aquagenic urticaria is terrifyingly real. Abigail Beck is one of the few people in the world allergic to water itself. Even a drop causes excruciating burning sensations and painful rashes on her skin. Showers? Agony? Swimming? Impossible. Even her own sweat and tears trigger reactions. Doctors were stumped at first. Water isn't supposed to cause allergic reactions since it's a neutral compound. But researchers believe it's not the water itself, rather a reaction between water and the natural chemicals in the skin. There's no cure, only painful trial and error management. Even drinking water can trigger throat swelling, forcing some patients to survive on milk or carefully managed hydration therapies. With less than 100 known cases worldwide, this bizarre condition remains one of medicine's greatest puzzles, leaving doctors to question how something so essential could also be deadly. Number 11. The woman who can't forget a single day. Most people struggle to remember what they had for breakfast, but Jill Price can recall every single day of her life in perfect detail, a condition known as hyperthymesia. Ask her what she was doing on May 14, 1987, and she'll tell you everything, from the weather to what she ate. Her brain automatically stores and recalls life events with absolute precision, like a living diary. Scientists have scanned her brain and found an unusually large amygdala and hippocampus, the regions linked to memory and emotion. Yet despite studying her for years, neurologists still don't know why her brain works this way. While it sounds like a superpower, it's also a curse. Jill can't forget bad memories and painful, embarrassing moments, leaving her emotionally drained. Number 10. The baby who aged like an old man. At just a few months old, Brooke Greenberg looked like a newborn. But by age 20, she still looked like a toddler. Despite living 2 decades, her body never aged beyond infancy, a condition so rare that scientists named it Syndrome X. Doctors were completely stumped. She had no known genetic mutations linked to aging disorders like progeria, and her organs aged at different rates. Some remained young, while others grew older. Her case challenged the entire understanding of aging, leading scientists to speculate that her body's internal clock had essentially paused. Some even wondered if her condition could hold clues to slowing down aging in healthy humans. Brooke passed away at 20, leaving behind one of medicine's biggest unsolved mysteries, proving that aging isn't as straightforward as we once believed. Number 9. The woman who became drunk without drinking. Imagine getting pulled over for drunk driving when you haven't had a single drop of alcohol. That's exactly what happened to a woman from New York, who kept experiencing severe intoxication symptoms despite being completely sober. Doctors were baffled until they discovered she had brewery syndrome, a rare condition where her gut bacteria fermented carbohydrates into pure ethanol. In simple terms, her stomach was brewing its own alcohol. Every time she ate bread, pasta, or anything starchy, her body converted it into booze, leaving her constantly drunk without drinking. Despite eating a normal diet, she would experience slurred speech, dizziness, and blackouts. Even though ABS is incredibly rare, cases have been found worldwide. Treatment involves a strict diet, probiotics, and sometimes antifungal medications. But how and why some people's guts turn into breweries remains a medical mystery. Number 8. The boy who slept for over a year. Most people wish they could get more sleep, but for Anton Belousov, sleep became a prison. At just 12 years old, he fell asleep and didn't wake up for over a year. Doctors tried everything, shouting, shaking, even medical stimulants. But Anton remained in a deep coma-like state with no explanation. Brain scans showed no major abnormalities, and there were no infections, strokes, or obvious neurological disorders. Then, just as mysteriously as he fell asleep, he woke up one day, as if nothing happened. He had no memory of the past year, but otherwise seemed perfectly fine. Since then, other cases of Klein-11 syndrome, or KLS, also known as Sleeping Beauty syndrome, have been recorded. Patients with KLS randomly fall into deep sleep for weeks or months, waking up confused but unharmed. What causes it? No one knows. Some suspect a viral trigger or a brain malfunction, but for now, science has no answers. Number 7. The man who saw everything upside down. Imagine waking up one day and realizing the entire world is flipped upside down. That's exactly what happened to a patient in Spain, whose vision suddenly inverted reality, a phenomenon so rare that doctors still don't fully understand it. At first, they thought he had a stroke or brain damage, but all scans came back normal. His eyes were fine, and yet his brain refused to process the world correctly. Neurologists theorized that his brain's spatial awareness system had glitched, tricking his mind into seeing everything in reverse. Despite intense therapy, his vision never returned to normal. He learned to adapt, walking and interacting as if his world was permanently flipped. His case left neuroscientists with more questions than answers. How does the brain determine which way is up? And could this condition reveal hidden functions of human perception? For now, the answers remain a complete mystery. Number 6. The girl who smelled like rotten fish. Imagine having a body odor so strong and unbearable that no amount of showers, deodorant, or perfume can fix it. That's the reality for people with trimethylaminuria, also known as fish odor syndrome. One of the most extreme cases involved a young girl whose sweat, urine, and breath smelled like rotting fish, no matter how clean she was. Doctors were initially clueless until tests revealed she had a rare metabolic disorder preventing her body from breaking down trimethylamine, a compound found in food. Normally, the liver processes and removes this chemical, but in TMAU patients, it builds up in the body, leading to a constant stench. There's no cure, only dietary restrictions and experimental treatments. But why do some people develop this condition while others don't? Number 5. The man who died for 90 minutes and came back to life. In 2014, Tony Yao, a 37-year-old mechanic from Ohio, was declared clinically dead for 90 minutes, only to come back to life. His heart completely stopped after a massive cardiac event. Doctors tried to revive him for 45 minutes before calling the time of death. His family was devastated, but just as his son whispered, "Dad, don't leave," Yali's heart suddenly restarted on its own. Doctors were stunned. No one survives 90 minutes without a heartbeat. Even more bizarre, he suffered no brain damage or organ failure, something unheard of in cases of prolonged death. Well, we think it's a miracle. In fact, medical experts still can't explain how he came back without life support. His case remains one of the most shocking near-death experiences in medical history, leaving science struggling to answer how and why he survived. Number 4. The woman who lived without a heart for 17 months. In 2011, 23-year-old Tiffany Johnson from the US developed severe heart failure. Her heart was so damaged that doctors had no choice but to remove it completely, but instead of dying, she lived for 17 months without a real heart. Instead of a transplant, she was kept alive using a total artificial heart, or in short, TAH, a machine that pumped blood through her body outside of her chest. She carried a backpack-sized pump everywhere, essentially functioning without a human heart. A year and a half later, she finally received a successful heart transplant, but her case stunned medical experts. Most people survive days or weeks on artificial hearts, not 17 months. Her survival changed the way doctors approach heart failure, proving that life without a biological heart is possible, even if science still can't fully explain how she lasted that long. Number 3. The man who felt other people's pain. Most people can empathize with pain, but Joel Robinson felt it physically. If someone stubbed their toe, he would feel the exact same pain in his own foot. Doctors diagnosed him with mirror-touch synesthesia, an ultra-rare condition where the brain mirrors sensations from others as if they were happening to the patient themselves. Even watching injuries on TV triggered real pain in his body. Scientists believe his mirror neurons, the part of the brain responsible for empathy, were hyperactive, making his body physically react to external pain signals. Despite brain scans and studies, the cause of his extreme sensitivity remains unknown. Could his case unlock new secrets about human empathy and brain function? Science is still searching for answers. Number 2. The man who couldn't stop growing. Imagine hitting 8 feet tall and still growing. That was the reality for Robert Wadlow, the tallest man in recorded history. By the time he died at just 22 years old, he stood at a staggering 8 feet 11 inches, and his body showed no signs of stopping. Doctors determined Wadlow had an overactive pituitary gland, which flooded his body with uncontrolled growth hormones. Even more shocking, his condition never slowed down. Most people with gigantism stop growing after puberty, but Wadlow's body ignored those natural limits. Despite his towering height, Wadlow suffered from fragile bones, weak joints, and constant pain. His size made him a medical marvel, but also a mystery. Why did his body continue growing when others stopped? Today, modern treatments can slow gigantism, but no case has ever matched the severity of Wadlow's. His height remains unmatched, leaving experts wondering how far his body could have grown. Number 1. The woman who couldn't die from Alzheimer's. Alzheimer's is a devastating disease, slowly robbing people of their memories, cognitive abilities, and independence. But one woman, known only as Patient FM, defied all medical expectations. Despite having a genetic mutation that should have doomed her to early dementia, she lived a normal life with no symptoms at all. Doctors discovered that her brain was full of amyloid plaques, the hallmark of Alzheimer's, and yet she remained mentally sharp well into old age. The reason? A previously unknown genetic mutation that appeared to protect her brain from the disease. Her case shocked the medical community, as it suggested that some people might have a built-in resistance to Alzheimer's. Scientists believe unlocking her genetic secret could lead to a revolutionary breakthrough in dementia treatment, possibly even a cure. For now, she remains one of the greatest medical mysteries of our time. If you have enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.